just won in overtime. A 2-yard push into the end zone and an overtime victory for your Kearney Bulldogs.
The Bulldog Radio Network proudly presents the Coach Minnick Show on KMO-TV and 102.7 FM, Kearney's hometown radio station. And now here's the hosts of the show, Mike Davis, Jim Dickerson, and Coach Logan Minnick.
All right, welcome to the 9-0 Coach Minnick Show, baby. And we've got Kelly Gentry in with us. Jim Dickerson is still on vacation, and a well-deserved one, I might add. But in the meantime, it's great having Kelly along with us again this week. And Coach, 19 unanswered points in the fourth quarter against the Belton Pirates last week. And what a fantastic comeback that was on what looked to be a kind of a tough opening half against what appeared to me to be a very good football team.
Yeah, told you guys last week, it seems like every time we play Todd Vaughn and the Belton guys, in my past, that guy's kind of my nemesis over there. But obviously had a few uncharacteristic miscues early. And anytime you turn the football over, we've been doing a really good job of taking care of the football. So we even started our first possession with a turnover. So definitely a little sloppy in the first half. Plenty of things we can clean up. But I thought, throughout the game, the defense kept us in it. As crazy as that sounds, being down 21-7. But one of those is a botched onside kick that they scoop and score. And then another is a snap over the punter's head that's a 10-yard touchdown drive. And then even the first drive, we turn it over in their territory. So, all 21 of the points that came were off of turnovers. We can get that cleaned up because I think stat-wise we had well over 300 to 180. So we played a lot better than what the score indicated. But obviously we've got to get those mistakes cleaned up because, those happen here. The next few weeks we'll be turning our stuff in Monday.
Yeah, 361 yards of total offense, Kearney Bulldogs, to the Belton Pirates, 177. Now you had 54 plays to their 47 plays, so you had more opportunity in terms of possession. I'm not sure the possession, I'm not even going to read that because that one seems odd to me. It looks like it's even Steven, but I don't think that's right. But in any case, terrific job all the way around, and you did mention the defense, and we saw a couple of, and we'll show it a little bit later, but we had numbered, let's see, that was Theo Grace that we talked to. We talked to both, Kelly talked to both Zach and Theo Grace, the brothers, the Grace brothers, right after the game. And Theo has this just devastating hit on the quarterback who had rolled out to the near side and was trying to unload the ball, but because the defense our secondary had him so well covered that it gave Theo time to come in and just level the guy. I mean, just knocked him into next week.
It was quite the exclamation mark on the night, I thought.
Yep.
After having the 19 unanswered points in the fourth quarter to come back, and I just thought it provided a great exclamation point there by Theo on that play.
Yeah, Theo definitely likes to hit people. We know that going in. I remember being on the headset going, he better get rid of it. He better get rid of it. Oh, he didn't get rid of it.
Well, and I think we've got some footage on it. I'm not sure if it's queued up or if we've got it right here today, but the footage that I saw of that particular hit showed it from behind. Brian says no, but the one shot that I saw of it was from behind. We saw it from in front on our side of the field, and that was where you really got a sense of how hard. Now, to me, that's one of those hits that a lot of kids, particularly sophomores, might say, oh, I got this guy right in my sights, and then they whiff on it because they're a little excited, and you're playing against a really good athlete who maybe just sidesteps you, and whiff, you're gone.
Right.
Well, not so much, and I've never seen Theo whiff. I mean, when he comes in hard and on target, and that's good football.
Yep, he doesn't have much regard for his body. He's one of those guys that he's going to throw it in there. He's an absolute missile, and I know we talk about it all the time. We're pretty blessed that he is just a sophomore because he's just going to get bigger and stronger and faster. And and start to understand the game even more. So he'll be a dude for us the next couple of years for sure.
Yeah. I wanted to mention real quickly, because you talked about the coach over there at Belton, and you're obviously acquainted with a lot of these guys. I did see the Raytown South coach. I think it was on Max Preps or Preps KC. I think one of their 8-10 varsity. I can't remember all of these websites that we kind of follow along. And they interviewed the Ray South coach, who you're also acquainted with.
Right.
And I think whether he meant to or not, he gave us kind of a big salute, a big shout out. This is the first year that they've hosted a district playoff game in quite some time.
Right.
So he's done a real nice job of those guys over there at Ray South. We played them. We saw how good they are. But he mentioned, he says, yeah, we had kind of a tough time of playing the number 1 state, the number 1 team in the state, and the number 2 team in the state 2 weeks in a row.
Right.
And clearly he was talking about us and the folks over at Smithville. And I just thought it was nice of him to kind of shout out to us, maybe inadvertently, but it was neat that he was respectful of of what the program that we have going on over here with you at the helm.
Yeah, obviously our conference and district are going to be extremely tough. Especially with us getting back to where we need to be, and Smithville is still the defending state champion until somebody knocks them off here.
Yep.
Going forward, so. Yeah, if you're kind of the middle of the road in our conference, that's a tough road when you've got 2 top 5 teams in the state in your conference.
Oh, absolutely. Well, and I just wanted to mention, too, I know we mentioned on the broadcast earlier, but it is the first undefeated regular season since 2010. So congratulations on that. And I know we will have the interview a little bit later, but I know Zach mentioned that you talked to the kids about, hey, that's something that's history for Kearney, and you guys will always, regardless of what happens in the future, that's a huge accomplishment to go undefeated, especially with the schedule you guys had.
Yeah, obviously excited for them. Hopefully, again, we don't get too big-headed about that, because our goals are much bigger than just having the undefeated regular season. But as we told them, when in any of high school football, there's only going to be one team that doesn't end their season on a loss in our class. So when you look back on it, years in the future we did, we won every game on a regular season schedule. So. That is, you don't see that a lot. It's pretty hard to go undefeated, throughout a whole season. So, just excited for our kids, and pretty big deal.
And playing 5 Class 5 schools and winning the conference. So, I mean, some huge accomplishments so far. I was going to ask you, Coach, about one of the things that Mike and I were talking about, kind of a momentum play that changed the game a little bit. I wanted to get your thoughts on it. It was actually a special teams play.
Yep.
So the defense had done a good job, pinned Belton back inside theirs, and then Joe Marshall with a tremendous return, setting us up, all the way down to the 10, I think, on that.
Yep. We talk all year about, our 3 phases of if we play bad on offense and on defense, special teams can give us that boost we need. And I think that was right after they scored to make it 21-7. We get a kick back there to Joe. Joe makes a couple guys miss and runs it all the way down there to the 10. So definitely complete momentum shift of what it could have been there. And then us obviously getting the 7 points on the board in a hurry to get it back to 7 points was huge in that game for sure.
Yeah, fast answer.
Yes.
Right away.
Yeah, that's the way you like to see it. I noticed, I did want to mention too, that the folks out there, as many of you know, we were able to broadcast the game, do the live broadcast from Belton. And it's always fun to be able to do that, and it's nice that the school district had a booth, not only a booth for us, but all of the hookups that we needed to make sure that we get a clean broadcast. But I have to say to those folks out at Belton, every single one of them was just as friendly and accommodating as we could have asked for, and a terrific bunch of people out there. I mean, the music director walked us up to the booth as we first got there and didn't really have too much good of an idea where we were supposed to go. And it was all marked, had a little sign on the door for us. But I just, a big shout out to an opposing school, and even after the game. I think there were a couple of guys a guy that Kelly and I talked to that had played ball there I don't know.
Yeah, he works for the school now. They were doing their senior night and had all the lights shut off. We couldn't even see you in the dark, so we had to find a hallway, and they turned some lights on us for us to be able to do our post-game interviews.
Yeah, the custodian went out this way, and he says, "You want me to turn these extra lights on?" I thought, "Wow, have you worked on a crew before?" And it's like, yeah, he knew what he was doing.
So, and their band did a tremendous job. Yes. I mean, you could tell it was their senior night. I mean, not that it was I'm sure they had us circled, like you said, the #1 team in the state coming in. They're going to want to have a big night, and their quarterback returned, like you said.
Yeah, he was Geo Mack is a great player, great athlete. He's a really good point guard on their basketball team also. So I think in my 3 years in the 3 years he was there when I was at Raytown, I think we played him 5 or 6 times. So I had talked to Coach Vaughn early in the year, and he said, "Yeah, I think he may be back by week 8 or 9." Like, of course he will be. Of course that kid, will be back. I even told Coach Vaughn before the game, I said, "God dang, I get out of your conference, and yet here we are playing at the end of the year again." But
he's got an arm, and you talk about a dual threat quarterback. I mean, the speed to get in and out of running situations, and I mean, this guy was absolutely spot on with his passes. Greg Lyles was his kind of go-to receiver. In fact, that first touchdown was a 48-yard touchdown from Mack to Greg Lyles, and my goodness, that thing was on the money. And there's another couple of those that we saw that you really get a sense of how good that guy is throwing the football. So yeah, and it's hard to defend somebody like that because you're not quite sure. He's got the ability to run,
right.
And if you got all your guys in the secondary covering. And then he can slip away on a running play on a 3rd and short, and there you go. And they own the ball. They did a nice job.
Coach, one thing about that we were asking you about earlier is when you guys see a play like that, you're able to adjust. Talk a little bit about the technology that you guys use and how you're able to make adjustments on field to things that you guys see. Yeah,
good thing we talked about was, with technology the way it is now, I'm sure you guys have been to our games, you see our TV over there on the sideline. Well, it's almost instantaneous. As soon as the play's over, we'll have it on our iPad. And then we just plug the iPad in the TV, and the kids sit down, and we can go through the whole series of what plays we need to fix or what happened on that play. So when there is a big touchdown or whatever it is, as soon as the kids, after they've kicked the extra point and get to the bench, we've already got the film up where we can – the coaches on the sideline have already watched it 3 or 4 times, so they can get that analyzed and see what little breaks or little things we need to change. That one was just, as you said, a perfectly thrown ball. We just undercut it. Our kid was trying to be aggressive and make a play on it, and it's one of those where, you were in the right coverage. It wasn't like a coverage breakdown. We just missed time to throw a little bit, and like you said, Geo Mack put it right on the money. And
boy, did he.
Yeah, so
that's
things
cool.
We can definitely get cleaned up.
Yeah, and that's cool that you're able to make those adjustments and the staff is there. I kind of wondered about that because I know in previous games if you see something like that, you guys do a great job of making adjustments, and knowing that you have that technology to do that is incredible. So, and talking about the defensive backs and the linebackers, I'm thinking, there was the Legion of Boom and the Legion of Zoom. I think you've got a little bit of boom and zoom.
Yep.
We've got some speed and some guys that like to deliver some hits, especially at the end of that game.
Yeah, we've got, from both ends, like we've got linebackers that can cover, we've got DBs that can hit, so it's definitely a fun group. They're a fun group to coach because they're so interchangeable as well. Like we can bring the safeties down and bring safeties and drop linebackers or vice versa. Just a lot of versatility defensively because I think especially in the safety and the linebacker group, they could all play linebacker or safety or vice versa. So it gives you some opportunities to move people around and show different looks out of our base defense.
Yeah, having a linebacker who can play in pass coverage is huge.
Right.
It's one thing to have a thumper, a guy that can get in there and make a couple of hits and be a run stopper. But man, if they can run out there and in pass coverage, it's fantastic. A couple of guys that I saw a lot of last week was Randall Freeland and Will Lincoln, and that's not uncommon. I see them both, week after week, and they're both terrific athletes. The other thing I might mention is that this defense was so spot on this past week. It was hard for us to make a call because everybody was in on the play.
Yep.
And we can't even sort of separate who might have perhaps been. Sometimes I can see who made first contact. But when we see a virtual scrum of white, and in this case white jerseys,
Yep.
It's hard to say who made the tackle, but man, I mean, the defense was on fire, and it was great to see.
Yeah, that's a product of Coach Brinkley and Coach Danneman there. We call it the Purple Swarm defense. So every week, one of our goals for our helmet stickers is 95% or better Purple Swarm is what we call it, which means all 11 hats have to be within 5 yards of the ball when the camera stops.
Really?
So we chart that, and every week we give it to the kids about how many people are around the ball when their camera stops. I think some of our kids may be trying to sweet talk the camera guy to hold it one extra second.
Widen that angle a little bit.
But yeah, I think, and they've done a great job all year. I think we've gotten that our Purple Swarm sticker for our helmet every week.
That's incredible.
And that's something our defensive coaches preach and practice. I mean, our defensive coaches even run to the ball with the kids, and 1,001, they count it down, 1,001, 1,002, and then they get a breakdown. So all 11 guys have to be there during a practice time. But yeah, they run to the football and take a lot of pride in it.
Yeah.
I don't know if Brian has it or not, but we did have a photo of the linebackers group. We actually ran into them. Do you have that, Brian, by any chance? No, okay. Well, I ran into the linebacker group. I was going to ask you about it because
post-game, right?
No, I saw him yesterday, so it must have been after practice,
yes.
The linebacker team was all together eating at La Fuente after their parent-teacher conferences. Maybe I got a photo of it. I'm like, well, this is really cool to see the camaraderie that those guys. I think there were 7 or 8 guys there together. So
yeah, that was a pretty cool deal. They usually, I think Coach Brinkley goes with them on what was yesterday, Wednesdays. So they all showed back up to parent-teacher conferences and brought Coach Brinkley a big burrito.
Perfect.
Like, Coach Minnick's here too.
What happened?
Yeah, but no, they're a tight-knit group, so I'm excited for those guys.
No doubt about it. Of course, we saw plenty of Zach Grace the other night, and we mentioned that I think it was off the air. We were talking about that terrific play, and it is our play of the game, and we'll show that later. I think, Brian, you've got it queued up for after the break, but that was the Cameron Emmons 50-yard score, and we saw, as we were able to break that film down, we saw, guys all over the offensive line, and Zach Grace was in the backfield blocking, and there were some double teams that we saw, that just, you just see this offense running so well, and that was one of the plays that, if you could have said, that's how it's done, I would use that play as the example, because that 50-yard run for Cameron Emmons was, like the week before. Basically, he was able to go untouched. Yeah,
that if I get the opportunities to speak at some clinics this offseason, that's what coaches would call the clinic tape of.
Nice.
Obviously, guys, if you just do it just like this, it'll work perfectly like this. But it was definitely one of those plays where every kid executed his block. I know you guys probably saw we ran left quite a bit behind Carter Schmidt over there. The kind of one that you don't see, doesn't get a lot of pub, is James Shaw that comes in as our tight end. I think he had 4 pancakes last week alone. So he's taking a lot of pride in that tight end position when Zach's not there. Or obviously we put James at the tight end and then we line up Zach everywhere. But he does an outstanding job in the run game and has for the last 5 or 6 weeks since we've been rolling him in there.
Yeah, great to see. We're going to take a break, and we are glad you're with us today on the Coach Minnick Show. We're having a lot of fun talking about a 9-0 season. We'll be back and talk about some of the other highlights from the game, the winning game, the 9-0 game, 33-21 versus Belton. Stay with us. We'll be right back on the Coach Minnick Show.
Today's business environment is more challenging than ever before. Exceeding customer expectations and staying ahead of the competition make dependable air travel essential to your business. The time-saving convenience of aircraft ownership is a more realistic solution than you might think. Imagine no lines, no waiting, and the ease of traveling on your own schedule. EquityJet is a full-service aviation management company. From aircraft acquisition, refurbishment, crew services, maintenance, and door-to-door travel service, EquityJet gets you where you're going quickly and comfortably. Find out how EquityJet can help streamline your jet travel needs. For more information, visit equityjet.net or call 816-804-7072. EquityJet. Travel is more than just getting there, it's how you get there.
All right, we are here at Belton High School where your Kearney Bulldogs just won their 9th game on the season to remain undefeated and complete the first undefeated season in Kearney football since 2010. So it's been over a decade. Had a tough win tonight over a good Belton team, 33-12, and we're joined here by the Grace brothers. So we've got senior tight end and all other positions, Zach Grace, and sophomore linebacker Theo Grace. So first of all, Zach, I'm going to start with you as the senior and older brother. Tell us what it means to you as a senior to go undefeated here on this season.
It means a lot. I mean, first undefeated regular season since 2010, and Coach would talk to us before the game about that. I thought that was really important, and he said we have an opportunity to get Kearney history, so I thought that was pretty awesome.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Well, and tonight's game, Zach, I'll go right back to you because tonight's game, you guys had to show some grit. Things didn't go your way early. We had a couple of turnovers in the first half. Kind of talk a little bit about what you guys talked about at halftime because the second half it was a totally different game.
We were just kind of shooting ourselves in the foot in the first half, and we just had to we weren't like yelling or anything in the halftime. We were just getting dialed in and just ready to go out there and take care of business, and I think we did.
Yeah. Well, and definitely both sides of the ball had to step up there. You felt like that Belton had some momentum, going into halftime here, and Theo stepping in at linebacker had some huge plays tonight on defense. Anything in particular that you guys focused in on defense for this second half?
Yeah, well, Coach Brinkley told us linebackers had to make a statement second half, and I think we certainly did.
I saw you guys break down as a linebacker group there at the end with Coach Brinkley. Was that part of that, what you guys were talking about?
Yeah, we're all talking about that, and we're all really close. We always break down together.
You've got a good unit there. Well, I don't know if Zach will give you some credit for it, but I tell you what, that play on 4th down to end the game, Theo has some bad intentions on some of these tackles, I think, sometimes. How about that hit there at the end of the game? What did you see on that?
Oh, I saw him roll out, and then he wasn't looking. He came back to me, and I knew it was going to be a great hit.
You were just hoping he didn't get rid of the ball before you got there, right? Right. So, well, great job tonight, guys. It's been so fun to cover you. You've earned a bye week. So, Zach, what do you think about that, having the bye week? What's that going to mean to the team in terms of getting healthy, and getting ready for districts?
It's going to be a great opportunity for us to get locked in and maybe heal up some stuff, and we're gonna just take care of business. It's a normal week.
Yeah. Absolutely. Well, Kelly Gentry signing off here with Zach and Theo Grace as Kearney goes undefeated on the 2022 season. Thank you. You're watching KMO-TV.
It is such a pleasure to be able to speak with these kids, these players at the end of the game, and they're just all so willing to get in front of the camera, and it's not an easy thing for these young people to do, and sometimes they get a little nervous, and you're never quite sure, what they're going to say or how they're going to say it. But Kelly Gentry does a real nice job. I think your coaching experience, I think, helps to sort of communicate with these kids. But what a great couple of kids, the Grace brothers there.
Oh, absolutely. It's a lot of fun to talk to the kids, as well as you interviewing Coach Minnick afterwards. It's interesting. Like Coach Minnick says every week, you can tell the kids are listening. That's one of the first things they said about making Kearney history, which I thought was really cool. And I have to tell these guys sometimes, I'm like, hey, I'm nervous too. Well, this is what we're going to do. And but no, it's really fun to interview the kids. And like you said, it's not like they have any training in this. It's the first time they're doing it. But I think they all do an excellent job.
They sure do, and it's just a pleasure, Coach, to be able to have that opportunity. And of course, you make yourself available every week, and we really appreciate that. I think it helps overall. It helps the team, and it gives the kids a chance to, I think, stand out and shine a little bit. And as they do every week, to throw a little bit of that spotlight on the rest of the team.
Yep, our kids do a great job with that. I think, as Kelly said, they do get a little nervous at times.
They do.
I think at times there, Zach and Theo both were a little bit short-winded there, which is not typical from either one of those two. So
It's a little different when you get a camera on you,
yeah,
right?
but no, they did a great job with that. And I think the big thing Zach said there was, and he was 100% right. We went in very calm. I had some people ask me, "Gosh, did you just go in there and get after him at half?" I was like, "Actually, we were very locked in, talked kind of about what happened." Now there are some half times that look different than what this one did, but I think the kids were just okay. Came in, sat down, were ready to be coached, ready to make any adjustments we needed. So I think that showed really a lot of maturity of our team. Of it's okay. We've haven't quite been here before, being down at half like that, but the senior group, including Zach there, just had everybody sat down ready to go. So I think we had a great half and made some little adjustments and just got back to playing Kearney football.
When you got, I guess, back up on the bus and started, heading back up here to Kearney, what's the mood? Is there? Do you guys do you jump on the bus and say something to the kids generally before you head back home, or what's kind of walk us through what goes on that ride?
It's usually a lot louder on the ride home than it is on the way down. Yeah. Our kids take a lot of pride in being very locked in on the bus ride down. It was actually a lot of fun Friday. By the time I got around there, all three bus drivers had music playing in the buses, and the kids were up and singing and hooting and hollering.
That's great.
So it was outstanding. It was really fun to see how excited the bus drivers were for us to win as well. They were throwing out candy. It kind of looked like a Christmas party. Walking around the corner with all the lights and the buses going.
That's cool.
But again, we encourage that. It's fun.
Sure.
Obviously, getting on that bus and the feeling is awesome.
Yes.
Because the lost bus rides are never fun on the ride home. Especially if it had been one all the way from Belton, that would have been a long, quiet bus ride.
That's
home.
a long drive.
But yeah, we got a group they like to have a lot of fun and do a great job doing it.
Well, I think it's great that the focus obviously is on take care of business, but I think when it's all said and done, it's still a game.
100%.
And man, if you're having to play a game, the key word, that verb, is play. Yep. And if you can't have a little bit of fun with it afterwards, then you're playing the wrong game. Yep. But it's really great to see those kids though, and great that you let them sort of enjoy the ride home, as it were. So yeah, Kelly.
Well, I was, and I know we're probably about ready to wrap up the Belton game, but did want to talk to you a little bit about the, because definitely, and we'll get to the play of the game here in a little bit, but you definitely noticed it. The intensity on the Kearney side picked up, especially the fourth quarter. And I know you've talked about how you rotate your defensive linemen, our linebackers getting into the quarterback. And the other part I kept thinking about watching you guys was, like you said, Coach, no, there wasn't yelling at halftime. The players, the seniors, are getting themselves locked in. It just seemed like Kearney didn't panic. They had a lot of belief, and when you've won a lot of games, you can have that belief. Belton seemed to kind of, when things started not going their way, we really put it on them. So
yeah, that was one thing I definitely made sure to look when the punt goes over the head, they make it 21-7. I made a point to look at the sideline and see what our body language was, and which kids are talking to who. Are we up? Are we down? Just kind of see how we were. And there was no one over there hanging their head. You had, like I said, you had defensive guys who had already ran over to sit down to get coached. You had the group that's getting ready to go out there on the kickoff return team. Hey, let's run that. You can hear the kids. We're going to run this back. We're going to. So a lot of confidence from offense to defense. I think I even heard, guys, the offense is going to score this drive. Everybody, it's real positive, which I think is big because there's going to be definitely some games here going forward where some adversity is going to happen. When you're playing playoff football, everyone going forward from here, it's going to be a good football team. So as much as I hate it that I've had several people tell me, it's probably good for our kids to have that situation in a game, because we've had several here where we didn't play much of a second half, or Coach, it was good for you guys to play a second half. I'd rather it been 42-6 and rolled the twos out there and continue to to execute at the high level we were. But there's definitely some good that comes from that of knowing that if that did happen in a playoff game, we can do that. And we've been here and we've done this. So,
well, as early as game one, in fact, we spoke with Zach Grace after game one over at Platte County. And that was where the defense really just, I think, drove a stake in the ground on that. It was 4 attempts on the goal line, and Kearney Bulldogs stopped him. And I think you said Kearney Bulldog defense is back right after that game. But when we were speaking with Zach, he had the ham run around the right side for the touchdown in overtime that actually won the game for us. I asked him very specifically, I said, did you have any doubt that you guys were going to win this game? He said, never. And you saw how he answered in that interview. He's kind of soft-spoken in the interview, but he didn't pause. He didn't hesitate. This was game one, Coach.
Right.
So long before what we saw the other night, he said, no, I had no doubt. I knew our defense was going to pull us through. Now, that kind of confidence that early says a lot. And by the time you reach game 9 and now the playoffs, you've got a team that trusts each other. Right. That is huge. Talk about trust.
100% trust. I think you said it right. I think, as we said, the big thing we told our defense at halftime of the Belton game was, defense, we expect you to pitch a shutout this half. And obviously they had the punt goes over the head, and I think it's a 10-yard touchdown drive. But I think defensively they had less than 50 total yards in the second half. So the defense came out and played absolute shutdown defense the second half. And we told them, like I said, the offensive kids are going over, hey, we got you. It's finally our turn to put points on to come back and win a game. A lot of confidence there. And again, I think that just stems from our kids understanding how good we are offensively and defensively that we can be when they play each other in practice. If there's times we get them, there's times where the defense absolutely gives us fits. And that just, as we talk, I think we've said several times on the show of Kearney making Kearney better. Because even though, like this week, we had a bye week, so we laid off a lot of contact, but it was really good week of getting each other better. So we've just got to continue to do that. But again, the confidence in each other it's infectious. I mean, it is spread all the way across the team, and a lot of love on the team right now.
Well,
sure.
It's easy to say that when you're winning, but it's sort of a chicken and the egg thing. Does trust come from winning, or does trust build winning?
Right.
And I love seeing the way they work together. Yep. And as far as the very first game, I think that was impressive to me, because we had no idea looking down the road that we were going to end up 9-0. I mean, you dream about these kinds of things, but at that point in the season, the fact that Zach was so confident in the defense, I thought just spoke volumes.
No, it's huge, and the other part that I was going to ask you about too, Coach, because I think one of the things that you and the coaches have done a tremendous job on is, there's a lot of guys playing. I mean, we're rotating a lot of defensive linemen in. We're looking at our running back. I mean, we've got a lot of capable running backs. A lot of different positions where you're playing a lot of guys. So it's one, it keeps them fresh, and I know you said Belton had some guys that were playing
Right.
both ways. You know, we don't really have anyone that plays both ways. So, and plus we're rotating guys in. So I don't know if you want to talk about just the number of people that are actually playing and getting time is pretty tremendous.
Because you've always got the people that are the really old school people of, get every best player on the team, they need to play every snap. And then you've got kind of this newer group of coaches that, platoon people, grow your program, get as many out as you can. But I've got a little old school. I mean, like if I've got Bo Jackson on my team in high school, he's going to play both sides. Or, as you guys may see here in a couple of weeks, you may see some faces that have been one side or the other play a little bit. But I think it definitely has kept us pretty healthy all year. I think you saw Belton was playing 6 or 7 kids both ways Friday.
Yes.
19-0 in the fourth quarter.
Yeah.
There's definitely a correlation there of, those Belton kids played their tails off for 3 quarters and are in it, but now they're tired. And we've got kids that have only played one side, and so we kind of imposed our will there, as that thing got rolling of we were definitely more fresh and ready to go there for a fourth quarter.
And I definitely thought about it during the game. Whenever that started happening and our defensive line was just taking over, our offensive line was, I thought exactly what you had said about that.
Right.
The Casey Rooney to Manny Linthicum connection scored a touchdown, and that was Manny had 3 receptions for 56 yards, and which averaged 18.7 yards. But just watching those two guys, the way they connect, the timing between the two is just magical, and you just talk about those two guys. It's just great seeing it.
Yeah, obviously the touchdown throw was huge. We had just thrown a touchdown to Bryce Page with some phantom pass interference call on that.
That was weird.
I was going to ask you about that.
Because I've gone to Bryce several times, because he's huge, he's strong, he can jump out of the gym. So we said, hey, when we get down there, we're going to throw you a jump ball and you go get it. And he did exactly that. Gets down there, goes up, makes a perfect catch, and we get called for the PI. So then it puts us at, I think we started that drive at the 10, and now it's 2nd and 25 or 3rd and 25. Because high school pass interference is 15 yards and loss of down. It's the almost worst penalty you can get. But luckily, we knew they were going to play a straight man-to-man, so we put the trips away from Manny, and so he had single coverage back there, and then him and Casey they're pretty magical of understanding, Manny stems it outside just a little bit to open the space, and then just Casey throws him open. So they do a really good job with that. And again, that was a huge play at that point because I actually think it was 3rd and 25.
Yes,
It was,
yes.
yeah.
And in fact, I think that's a great example of, sort of having some adversity right in front of you, and especially to have a touchdown taken off the board
Right.
Because of a penalty and as you say, phantom, and I would agree, but that's kind of the way it is. You don't get to review it, and that's the way it is in high school. The call is the call. But these kids came back with all the confidence in the world, and of course the pass was right on the money, and boom, touchdown. Yeah, we'll score 2 if we have to.
Yep.
So yeah.
Yeah, and I was thinking of another time, like you said, overcoming some adversity in those situations, because there was another pass interference that was called on us offensively on a long play on the near side, and then you guys came right back to Manny on the far side, on your sideline, and got that yardage right back. And I thought, man, that was great job by the coaches. Tell us a little bit about that.
Obviously, we knew we had single coverage out there. I don't know that was pass interference either. But as they were coming back to the line of scrimmage, the corner was chirping at Manny a little bit. But okay, I just looked at Casey and kind of gave him we're going to go with Manny again here. And then Casey threw an outstanding ball. Manny made a heck of a catch, and the corner actually played it really well. He was in good position. But again, I think that's one good thing Casey's done all year is having so much confidence in whether it's Manny or Bryce or Zach, anyone he's going to. If it's one-on-one, throw it out there and give our guy a chance because we on any given week we feel like our guy's better. Whether he is or not, we're going to be confident that he is. So we're going to give our athletes chances to make plays.
We're getting ready to take a break. I did want to mention, too, Tristan Williams got a 14-yard pass, and I don't know if he was the primary receiver or the check down guy.
Yep.
He was primary on that one?
No.
There you go.
Yeah. Casey made a great throw on that, great read.
Yes.
We told him, with him playing man, that our number 3 receiver there would cross face and be an option. I was actually anticipating he was going to go to Manny or Bryce again out there on the edge, and that's one of those where you're like, no, go as a coach.
Such maturity, maturity. Yes,
and that was a big third down play as well.
Yep. All right, let's take a break, fellas, and we'll come back and we'll talk. Got more to talk about. We're going to talk about playoffs. Playoffs? That's right. Stay with us. You're listening to the Coach Minnick Show, or you're watching it. We love it when you watch on KMO-TV or on any of the available methods by which you can see this very program. Stay with us.
Today's business environment is more challenging than ever before. Exceeding customer expectations and staying ahead of the competition make dependable air travel essential to your business. The time-saving convenience of aircraft ownership is a more realistic solution than you might think. Imagine no lines, no waiting, and the ease of traveling on your own schedule. EquityJet is a full-service aviation management company. From aircraft acquisition, refurbishment, crew services, maintenance, and door-to-door travel service, EquityJet gets you where you're going quickly and comfortably. Find out how EquityJet can help streamline your jet travel needs. For more information, visit equityjet.net or call 816-804-7072. EquityJet. Travel is more than just getting there, it's how you get there.
And we're back. I thought we were going to just roll right into the play of the game. If you got the player of the game first, Brian, what do we want to? It doesn't matter. It's my choice. Well, I just feel so powerful now. All of a sudden, it's just unusual in my life. Let's go with the play of the game because I think there's a lot of excitement there that we can talk about. And there's tons of cool blocks in this. Let's watch this one. This is great.
8:59 left to go. There's a handoff. That's Emmons. Emmons has also running road. He is free. Nobody in front of him. 10-5. Touchdown.
And I tell you what, Bryce Page, number 84, just had a devastating block from the wide receiver position on the far side. Just opened up the hole for Cameron to run through.
Cameron Emmons on a 50-yard run. And that is going to put your Bulldogs in front for the first time tonight, 26-21.
All right, let's talk about that for a minute. And I love the fact that, and nice job by Brian Watts, our producer engineer, and also does a ton of editing for us, with a little telestrator on there that was, we were able to show the Bryce Page pancake, which was just awesome. Talk about that, Kelly.
Well, in real time, Coach, I noticed, Bryce on the outside got his guy on the ground, and you're always talking about bodies on bodies, so I think about that all the time. And we saw Bryce get his guy on the ground. Then we go back and watch the clip again, and I'm like, Carter Schmidt pancaked his guy. I think you had James Shaw on a double team on that side. Zach, I mean, the blocking on that. Tell us a little bit about just the execution of that play in general by all of the guys.
Yeah, that play, absolute, as we talk in the coaching world, that'd be Coach Clinic tape of, here's how we're going to run this, off tackle play. Here's your kick out, because Zach Grace is the kick out on that. Got the outside linebacker kicked out. And then Carter and James Shaw have an unbelievable double team to move that defensive end 5-6 yards downfield, which ends up with a pancake. And then you got big physical Bryce Page out on the corner. I think Cam would be the first to tell you, that's 50 yards untouched. When you get it drawn up that way and they execute it that way, obviously good things happen.
You do, and their linebackers or corners are 10 yards behind Cameron. I mean, it's like this play's over. Yep. It is over. And we called it earlier. We said, no, he's gone.
Yeah.
And you can see it. It happened right in front of you, just like it was drawn up on the board, Coach.
Right.
Yep.
Well, and like Coach said, I mean, it looked like we just wore him down in that fourth quarter and really started moving people against their will in that fourth quarter. And that was that highlight just was a great example of that.
Sure was. Okay, Brian, let's go to our. Let's see. First of all, I want to thank Price Chopper for being our sponsor on that play of the game. They have been terrific. All of our sponsors, when we approach them, they all say, yes, of course, we'll help. And we love it. We can't do this without them. So thank you to Price Chopper on that. Now let's go to our Stables Player of the Week. And this young man right here, Carter Schmidt, who I think Kelly comes up to about his belt line, as I recall in our interview.
And I am an average-sized person, I
right,
feel.
Exactly. Yeah. And he's a giant. And I mean, this is a guy who just has such leadership quality. And we saw it the night when Kelly interviewed him after the Winnetonka game. And just a terrifically bright young man, and just an impressive kid to be around. And I got to believe that there's a reason that his fellow players chose him as a captain. Let's talk about him for a minute, Coach.
Yep. Obviously, very good football player. Has all the measurables as well. He's definitely had some recruiting pickup recently as well. I mean, when you go 6'5", 275 or whatever it is, and can move as well as he does, pretty blessed to have him. But like you said, great football player, but he's an even better young man.
Yes.
I think he was one of the few that was unanimous voted from the team for captains. And does a great job as a leader. I know when we talked about that Winnetonka interview, I think we mentioned, gosh, we were running left quite a bit. And he was like, well, yeah, that's because everyone else is doing their jobs or whatever he's throwing out there. But definitely a team-first guy. He asked me every week, Coach, I can play defensive end. Or,
That's great.
Linebacker, he'll play wherever we would let him. But he does a great job. I think you guys know when the game's on the line, we're going to run left, and we're going to run behind Carter and Zach over that left side. And has done a great job with it all week. He was one of our. We actually had 3 guys this week that we normally just vote one trench player. Carter, James Shaw, and Cale Conway all were trench players. We couldn't argue it out in the office. When you got blocks like that, and then obviously as well as Cale played defensively, we were like, well, let's just give it to 3 guys this week. Because obviously we played really well on the line of scrimmage. Not only Carter, but everybody up front. I think when you rush for 250 plus on the ground, you're doing good things up front, and I think it started with Carter.
Yeah, you mentioned Cale as well, and he's a guy that on some of those plays where I mentioned earlier where it was just a big group of defenders in the backfield, in the opposing backfield. Generally, he was one of the first ones back there, and so you're seeing a lot of speed from these big guys, which, man, I don't know how you coach against that. I mean, you see a guy like that coming at you, and it's hard. I did want to mention, too, that I noticed that, I mean, you're not afraid to say, hey, if we're behind, we're coming left.
Right.
I mean, you're effectively broadcasting exactly what we're going to do. But you look at this guy, and I say, look back at that film and try and stop it. Just try and stop it.
Yeah, there may be a counter or a reverse off of that.
Yes.
Or other plays that appear to look the same.
Keep them guessing, Coach. That's what I'm saying.
But I mean, if you've watched this, it's no big secret.
Right.
If it's if it's short yardage, you better have enough people on the left side, or it's definitely going to come there.
But if you pile them all on the left, look out.
Yeah.
Yeah, you've got. I mean, it's not like Maverick Goodman's small.
No.
On the
Right.
other side.
Yes.
So, pretty lucky to have a couple of road graders at tackle.
Yes, indeed. Okay, so do you have anything else on our Belton game?
No, I'm good.
Let's shift over into kind of where we're looking over this week, and then of course next week we've got Excelsior Springs coming up. Assuming they win, that's right. I don't want to get ahead of the game here. I'm trying to be so careful about this. You know, we look down the road. And, what are you guys doing? What are you planning now? Do you plan for more than one team, or are you just focused on Excelsior? What's going on?
This week was a little of everything. I think we were definitely nursing some bumps and bruises. That Belton game was a physical game.
Yeah, sure was.
But that's the blessing with the bye week of getting some people healthy. We shortened practices just a hair. So I was actually really glad we had a bye week with parent-teacher conferences this week, because they don't have school today or tomorrow, so that really throws off a routine. And then Wednesday we had to practice. We practiced noon to 3 before parent-teacher conferences started. So not the best feeling as a coach if we'd had a playoff game this week of just changing up their routine.
Yeah.
But we did a lot of just hammering out things that we need to get better, tweaked a few things that you may see in the playoffs. And then we've got films on Excelsior and Marshall. So whichever game, whichever team wins that, we've got some prep ready for both of those teams. Because again, I know everybody's getting really excited. It's going to be Kearney and Smithville again here in a few weeks, but I've learned my lesson on that in the past of every team in the playoffs is going to be there for a reason. So whether it is Marshall or Excelsior, we will be prepared for that game and before we ever even look forward to those boys in green.
Absolutely, it's why you play the game. I
Right.
mean, it's cliched, but man, there's a lot of truth to it. And
Yep.
we've seen we've seen Excelsior, and that's a tricky looking offense right there. And they can get by you, and they did a couple of times. On us.
And they're playing well right now. I think they've won 3 straight now. So if they happen to beat Marshall, that'd be 4 straight games. So they're building some confidence and kind of figuring out what plays they really like in that offense that they run.
Plus, they've seen us.
Oh, yeah. It's hard to beat people twice, regardless of who it is.
Yeah.
I tell you, one of the things that just thinking about the season, how it unfolded, how big having home field advantage is, because whoever we play, that game is at Kearney.
Right.
And if we're fortunate and expecting to win that one, we would host the final game the following week.
Yep.
So just the fact that we've got that home field advantage is huge.
Yeah, I told some people that this week. I really hope to hear again from the PA announcer. Fans, there's additional seating on the other side, because I know these upcoming weeks, if we take care of business, the Kearney faithful will be out there and the crowds will be loud. So we definitely will have some home field advantage in that, because it'll be a packed house and they'll be fired up, ready to go.
Get the cowbells ready.
Yeah, indeed, more cowbell. Did you guys plan to have the bye week the same time the Chiefs did?
Yeah, we drew that up just like,
Because give everybody a chance to get all their weekend work done.
Right.
Yeah. So, well, it's exciting going into playoff football, and congratulations on a terrific regular season. I know when the 4 of us looked at the schedule and we saw the first 3 games, and we've talked about this before, that it looked a little daunting. And then here it is, we came down the road, and we thought, gosh, if we've won these 3 games, there's a pretty good chance that we might perhaps win all of our games, but we still had to play them. Well, we did it. And it is really something, and historically, it is something to be so proud of. All those kids, it'll be a thing that I think they'll remember for the rest of their lives. And it's high school football, but you know what? High school football is fun.
Absolutely. Well, and I was just going to say, winning is contagious at Kearney right now. Coach is sporting his Kearney Bulldogs softball. Our girls softball team is playing in the Final Four today against Warrenton, and then win or lose, they'll play tomorrow.
Yep.
Our men's, well, there they are. There they are. Thanks, Brian. And the girls left yesterday to get down there. And so good luck to the Kearney softball team today.
Yeah.
Coach sporting the shirt. I need to get me one of those. And also, talking about the winning being contagious, we had talked previously about our girls volleyball team winning conference, but also last night the boys soccer team beat Smithville in penalty kicks after 2 overtimes. And so they are also conference champs. So there's a lot of winning happening. It's a good time to be a Bulldog right now.
Yeah, I caught that they were down. Kearney was down 1-0 at the half. Yeah. So that's great.
I think Dave Schwarzenbach said that we've won conference in 6 of the 8 fall sports.
Oh man, that's great.
Or something. So a lot of banners up going around.
So
there you go.
I love the sound of it. Brian, how are we looking on time? We got a couple of minutes left. Kelly, you got anything else there? I know you're always so well prepared, and we appreciate that.
Well, the thing I was going to ask Coach about is, can I be your agent? Because Coach has got the ham T-shirt. So thank you for the ham T-shirt. We've got the Coach Minnick action figure. I'm sorry,
yes,
Coach. Yeah, the action figure. So I was just going to give him a hard time about that.
What did you say? It's soft and fluffy.
It is. They made it big and fluffy.
That was it. Yeah, big and fluffy.
Apparently that resembles me.
That just made me giggle.
I don't know where that comes from.
Yeah.
Oh man, winning is fun, and everybody enjoy your Friday night off this week. And as I know you guys will, and I'm sure we'll all be kind of watching some scores around the high school football. In any of the reports that you get from all the multitude of websites that you can see these things, and enjoy some other games, but relax until next week and come back and be ready for some home Bulldog football playoffs. That's right, playoffs. Home. And that's what we love to see right here in Kearney Bulldog Stadium. Thank you so much for being with us. We appreciate you and all of your support in the community and all of the sponsors who help us do what we do every week. We couldn't do it without you. It means the world to us. We'll see you next week on the Coach Minnick Show.